I probably should go actually get my book. Under systems of equations, we have already done systems of equations. And the way that we've done systems of equations is by doing what? Anybody?
Drawing lines.
What?
Drawing lines.
Drawing lines, yes. We call that by graphing. Okay, we have solved systems of equations by graphing already. Okay, and as a quick review of that, let me just show you what we did. Let me open my book first here. To lesson, what, 50-something, 9? I believe it is. 59. Yep. So for example, if we had this problem here, no, I don't like that problem there. Hold on a second. I'll find one that I can actually do easily for you. Just a second. Patience is a virtue.
You should not do it.
It is not difficult, it's just confusing. This one, y equals x plus 3, y equals 2x plus 1. Write this down, y equals x plus 3, y equals 2x plus 1. This is review. Remember we did this, and I'm going to do it kind of freehandish, which you shouldn't do. You have your little thing here. Remember we needed to graph this. Crosses the y-axis at 3.
Didn't we do this on our quizzes today?
Probably. Slope is positive 1, so it goes up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So you get this line here. You graph the second one, crosses the y-axis at 1, has a slope of 2, so it goes up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So boom, you get that line there. And the thing we were looking for is the place where the two lines cross. And the place where these two lines crossed was at 2, 5. Okay, that is one way to solve systems of equation. That is by graphing. You really don't want to have to do that all the time because it takes a lot of time. Today we look at how to do the same thing except by, this is where the drum roll comes in. Nice. Substitution.
Oh!
Substitution. Why does that substitution not look right?
How do you spell substitution? I know, I hate when it doesn't look right.
By substitution.
Spell word.
Okay. And just like the word says, you're going to solve these by substituting something in. You're going to substitute.
Here's substitution.
Exactly. And here's the deal. We're going to actually do this one by substitution. So I'm going to rewrite this. Y equals x plus 3 and y equals 2x plus 1. And here is the deal with substitution. Okay? This is the deal with substitution. The first thing that has to happen in order for you to be able to use substitution is, right here, one of the equations must be solved for one of the letters. Okay. At least one of the equations must be x equals something or y equals something by itself. Okay, it can't be in standard form where you have 2x plus 3x or 2x plus 3y equals 6, and then the other one has x minus 2y equals 12. You would not be able to use substitution with either one of these right now because they're not solved for a letter. Both of these are solved for y, so you can use substitution with either one of them. And it just simply works like this. You just need to substitute, there's the word, substitute what one variable equals in one. What one variable equals in one equation into the other. And this will not make any sense until you actually show an example of this. Okay? This will not make any sense until you see an example. And I will show you that example. Here's what I'm talking about here. If you have this, y equals x plus 3 and y equals 2x plus 1. Yes, it does say variable. One variable equals in one equation into the other. Here is the deal. This is like the climax of the whole lesson right here. Since I know that this is what y equals this, I am going to put that in for the letter y right here. I am going to substitute what y equals in for what y is. Okay, so it will look like this. Instead of the letter y, I'm going to put x plus 3. You might want to get in the habit of putting that in parentheses because that will matter later on. In this one it doesn't. Equals 2x plus 1. All I did was took what y equals and put it in for y over here. And then, step number 3 is you're going to have to solve that equation for what x is. How would I solve this one? Well, I need to move my 2x over here, so I subtract 2x. If I subtract 2x from that, I get a negative x. Subtract 3 over here, subtract 3 over there, I get a negative 2. If negative x equals negative 2, what does x equal? Positive 2. Now I ask you, is that the same thing we got x to be over here? Yes, it is. X was 2, y is 5. Okay. Now you're not quite done because what you have to do once you find one answer, because I'm only halfway done, I only found what x equals here. Step number 4 is you have to take your answer and put it into one of the original equations. To find the other variable. Find the other variable. In other words, this. Now, a lot of people don't quite catch on to this, but it's pretty simple. If I know that x equals 2, just go back to either one of these things and put 2 in for x. Y equals 2 plus 3. Put 2 in for x because I know what x is now. 2 plus 3, so y now equals 5. So you've got your 2 points. X equals 2, y equals 5. And you can either write it as 2 comma 5 or write it as this. But you'll notice we got the same answer we got up here when we graphed it. Substitution, graphing.
How do you know when to do one?
Well, how do you know when to do one of them? It's kind of your choice. Okay, in this case here, it might have been quicker for me to graph it, but a lot of times my equations won't be already in slope-intercept form, they'll be goofy. For example, here is example number 2. Let's say you have x equals 3y minus 11, and the other one is 5x plus 2y equals negative 4. 5x plus 2y equals negative 4. If you look at these two equations, solving these by graphing could get a little tedious because you'd have to make a table or you'd have to solve it for y and they may not work out evenly. You might get a whole lot of fractions here. Why would I be able to solve this by substitution pretty easily? Because this one is solved for y, which means I can do this. If I know what x equals here, I'm going to put it in for what x is right here. And then I can solve my equation. But you have to be careful here because notice it's 5 times what x is. So you have to do 5 and then in parentheses what x is, which is 3y minus 11 plus 2y equals negative 4. Substitute this whole thing in for the letter x. That's why you need to, Alyssa Smiley, put parentheses there. Because if you don't put parentheses, you're not going to get it right because you'll forget to do something. So once you have this, you can solve it. 5 times 3y is 15y. 5 times a negative 11 is negative 55. Plus 2y equals negative 4. Put my y's together. What do I get? 17y minus 55 equals negative 4. Add 55. Add 55, I get 51. If 17y equals 51, guess what y is going to equal? Y will equal 3. Hopefully you got a handle on the mathematical part of that. What do I do with this now? I'm not done because I only found out what y equals. I need to figure out what x equals. What do I do with it? When?
Put it into the other equation.
In either one of the other equations. And again, you get your choice. Which one do you suppose would be easier to do? Putting the 3 in here or the 3 up there? 3 up there, because it's going to be 3 times 3, which is 9. 9 minus 11 is, so x is going to equal negative 2. If I were to graph those two lines, they would cross at negative 2, comma 3. I don't really want to graph those two lines because there's no easy way to graph, especially the second one, or even the top one for that matter. That is substitution in a nutshell. I can tell you're very excited about this. So I'm going to give you one and let you try it here. How about this one? Oh, let's go. No, we're not going to let you try this one. 4x plus 3y equals... Wait, I don't think I want to do this one. Really, people? You're going to do this?
Is it easier to
Well, it's a little deeper than I wanted to get with you. You want me to do it anyways or no?
No.
Yes. Is it going to be in our homework?
I don't know.
So we have homework.
No, I'm going to do this one. We're going to ignore this one. Hope it goes away. I'll wait till you get like a little older and smarter. 4x plus 3y equals 2. 4x plus 3y equals 2, and 2x plus y equals 6. Got that written down? Okay. Take a look at this problem here. Point number 1, if you look back at the notes I gave you, said what had to be true. The first thing was that if you look at both of these equations, neither one of them is solved for a specific letter. Neither one of them says x equals something or y equals something. And if that's the case, guess what?
We have to do it ourselves.
You're going to have to solve it yourself. Now, if you look at these, and I don't know why people struggle with this point here, and I've never figured it out. Looking at all of these letters that you could solve for, which would be the easiest one to solve for a letter? To get the letter by itself. I don't know why people struggle with this. To me, it's kind of like, it jumps right out at you. Kylie?
2x plus
To solve, what would you solve for?
y.
Because I need to know.
Y. I don't know why.
Yeah, look at, see all these letters? They all have numbers next, all these letters, all of them have numbers next to them except for the y. This one would be really easy to solve for y because all you have to do is subtract the 2x over. So you just take and subtract the 2x, subtract the 2x, and now this is solved for y. Y equals 6 minus 2x. Easiest one possible. I wouldn't want to solve for the y here because I'd subtract my 4x and then I got to divide by 3 and I'm going to get a fraction there, I'm going to get a fraction there. It'll still be able to be done, but it'll be way harder. So now that this is solved for y, I'm going to take this and put it in for the letter y right there in the other equation. And make sure you use parentheses, because it won't work if you don't. So it's going to look like this. 4x plus 3 times what y is, 6 minus 2x equals 2. The distributive property gives you 4x plus 18 minus 6x equals 2. What do I do next there, Lizzie?
Do the x's.
Put the x's together, which gives me negative 2x, correct? Subtract 18, negative 2x equals negative 16. So x is going to equal, anybody? X is equal to 8. And again, you're not quite done yet. Once you figure out what x is, you have to figure out what y is. Going back to my original stuff here, where would be the logical, easiest place to put 8 in for x to figure out what y is? And you can use, by the way, you can use the new one you made here, it still would work.
That one.
This one, because you just have to put an 8 in there. 2 times 8 is a negative 16. 6 minus 16 is, y is going to equal a negative 10. 16, 6 minus 16. So this would be your answer. If you wanted to write it like this, that would work as well. To me, this is exciting, children. And it's not hard stuff, but I can guarantee you it is